Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judy Blake, and I'm a program coordinator for Family to Family Network right here in Houston, Texas. I welcome you all and thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great presenter. I have joining us Janice Baines with the Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD. So for those of you on this call who do not know what the Harris Center is, because some of you are not from Houston on this call, every county has what we call a local authority. And the abbreviation for that, because we love abbreviations in our field, right, Janice?
Yes.
Is called a LIDDA, L-I-D-D-A, and that stands for Local Intellectual and Developmental Disability Authority. If you lived in Fort Bend County, you would go to the to Texana. If you lived in Montgomery County, it's Tri-County Health. So it's all broken down by county. So the reason we felt it was so important to have Janice on this call and to present to us is because she's going to talk about the Home and Community Support Waiver called HCS. So if your loved one is signed up on the waiver, that's great. That's good news. Bad news is the wait list is 12 to 15 years long. Unhappy about that like I am, please reach out to your legislator, because without reaching out to your legislators, more money will not be allocated so that your loved one's name will come up on the list sooner than that 12 to 15 years. So Janice, I'm going to have you go ahead and share your screen. So just a couple of housekeeping notes. I will be sending the recording to everyone if I have your name. If you have not gotten the recording by Friday, then please email me. And that means for some reason I missed your name, I didn't have a correct email for you, or something happened. So I want to make sure that you get the recording, and I will also send a copy of the slides so that you have those as well. So let's go ahead. We're going to have Janice present. And Janice, if you want to put it on slideshow, so what you want to do is go up to the top of your screen where it says animations and then slideshow.
Okay, I see slide size. Is that the correct one?
Yeah, what you want to do is go to the very top where it says file, home, insert. Yeah, there you go. You're in the right area. Okay. See where it says slideshow?
I see file, home, insert.
Mm-hmm. Keep going to the right.
Broad design. Oh, slideshow. I see it.
Okay, click on that.
Okay.
And it should say from the beginning. There you go on the left-hand side.
Okay.
There you go.
And then just click there and we're ready to go?
Click on from the beginning, and that way it'll make that slide a little bigger. Okay. Oh no, why didn't it do that?
Okay, because I'm clicking it.
Yeah, maybe it's taking a second. Oh, go to from the beginning up.
She didn't click the right one.
Yeah, I see that now. So go up above that where it says from beginning, move your cursor to the left.
Okay, you're kind of going out. I couldn't hear you. You said go to the left?
Yeah, so you'll see where it go to the left, keep going. Right below the word file, it says from beginning. There you go. Click on that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Now we see your notes. Don't worry about, oh, we see the next slide. Don't worry about it. We want to get going. It's all good. Can everyone see, or does someone else know how to get rid of the next slide? Okay, just click on got it. Okay. Okay, you can see. Okay, Janice, why don't you go ahead and then if everyone could please hold their questions until the end, I'll be monitoring the chat box. Thank you, Janice, and thank you for joining us.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Judy, for inviting me and having me share with your group. As Judy mentioned, my name is Janice Baines. I am the Director of Service Coordination for the Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD, Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. I'm here today. My purpose is to speak with you about the HCS program and to give you more information to help you have a better understanding of what the program is and the services that are offered. I'm also going to speak a little bit about some of the other waiver service programs so that you can understand what those are and understand a little better about them as well. Before I get started into the slides, I did want to share this screen with you. What day is it? Asked Pooh. It's today, squeaked Piglet. My favorite day, said Pooh. Every time I read that, it brings a smile to my face. So I'm hoping that it brought a smile to yours as well. Okay, so our objectives today, things that I would like you to be aware of and learn is how to identify a Medicaid waiver program, know who qualifies for HCS, the Home and Community-Based Services Program, know what services are provided through HCS as well as the other waivers, and why it's important to sign up for services now. First, we'll start with what is a waiver program? A waiver, the traditional state plan requirements are waived off to allow flexibility in providing services. So for some of you, you may not have been able to qualify for state Medicaid previously. When your name comes up for HCS, a lot of the requirements are waived so that you are eligible to participate in the HCS program. In HCS, and I'll show you some slides a little bit later on how that comes into play as we're discussing HCS, but there are waivers that are in place that will help you to qualify even if you think that you may not. There are 6 waiver programs. The first one is HCS, just talked about that one, Home and Community-Based Services, Texas Home Living, CLASS, Star Plus, MDCP, which stands for Medically Dependent Children's Program, and DBMD, Deaf, Blind, Multiple Disabilities Waiver Program. HCS is a Medicaid waiver program that supplies services and supports to Texans with an intellectual disability or a related condition so that they can live in the community. A related condition could be something such as cerebral palsy, spina bifida, head injury. We do have qualified staff that would conduct an assessment to determine what the disability could be. So again, even if your individual or loved one is not diagnosed with an intellectual disability, they could qualify for the program based on a related condition. HCS services are intended to supplement rather than replace services received from other programs, such as Texas Health Steps, or from natural supports, including families, neighbors, or community organizations. What we want to have happen in this particular circumstance is that people continue to receive natural supports from, if there's an aunt or uncle that comes by and helps out sometimes, we want to those particular services to continue. We don't want to supplant that with someone that you have to pay. There are circumstances where we may have to pay a provider for those services, and that's fine as well. But we do want to continue as much as possible to have a person live as anyone else does, with siblings helping out or someone else coming in that they're aware, that they know well, to come into the home to assist them. So we want to keep those systems in place. Who qualifies for HCS? HCS may be available to any Texas resident not living in an institution, in an institutional setting. And I'm going to go back a little bit to Texas. Sometimes people move out of the state and they want to take their HCS slots with them, and that is not possible. HCS, as we know it in Texas, is only a Texas program. You would have to contact the state health department in whatever state that you would move to. But the HCS program, as I'm speaking about today, is only for people that live in Texas. The individual has to have an IQ of 69 or below, or, as I stated before, an approved related condition with an IQ of 75 or below. The person has to have mild to severe deficits in adaptive behavior, be eligible for Medicaid, and not enrolled in any other Medicaid waiver program. And what that means is that if you're already receiving services, let's just say in the class program, and your name comes up to receive services from HCS, you would have to choose which waiver program you would want to be receive services from. You cannot receive it from both. And we'll talk a little bit later. I have a slide that gives you a comparison of the HCS services and program that is offered, as well as the class program, and then some of the others. I said before in one of the other slides, there are 6 waiver programs that we'll be looking at today. So it could be any of those. But either way, if you're enrolled already in one waiver, you would have to choose a different waiver. Not the different one. You can choose to stay in the one that you're in, or if your name came up on the interest list, you could transfer at that time to a different waiver program. What is IDD? IDD is an intellectual or developmental disability, includes many severe chronic conditions that are due to mental and/or physical impairments. People who have IDD have problems with major life activities such as language, mobility, learning, self-help, and independent living skills. Now, we're going to go into some of the services that HCS provides. HCS is actually one of the best programs that the state offers for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Part of that reason is because we do provide residential services. With residential services, you get a choice of 4 different models. The first one is home host care, which is most familiar to you maybe as foster care, but in the HCS, it's termed host home care, and the individual gets to live in the home with their family members. If the person is 18 or over, the family can be provided funds to help care for them in their home. Part of the reasoning behind that is because if a person without a disability turned 18, often they're going to leave home, go get an apartment, live somewhere else. But a lot of times people that have intellectual disabilities are not able to leave home, and the family chooses to have the individual in the home with them. So services can be provided there, and they can be paid for those services as a host home care provider. If the individual is under 18 years old, you cannot use the host home care model because they're a minor. And that's, again, going back to natural supports. As a minor, a parent then does have the responsibility of caring for their infant, their minor child. But we do offer another residential option for minors, and we call that own home, family home, which means that the individual can still stay in their own home and then receive what we call pass-have services or attendant care services. Someone comes in a certain amount of hours per day and assists with bathing, activities of daily living, preparing a simple meal, helping the person learn maybe some of the school lessons from the school district, work on their lessons, help them prepare a bath, anything pretty much that's going to help that individual learn skills on their own can be provided through the own home, family home model. The other model is supervised living. In the supervised living model, that is a group home setting where there's shift staff, which means that throughout the day, someone will be in that home 24 hours, 7 days a week. In supervised living, the caregiver at night can sleep in the home. In the 4th model, which is the residential support services, the individual that's working at night has to stay awake. So you need to be very aware of that as you're choosing a residential model. If you have an individual that elopes, gets up in the middle of the night maybe, and go and try and get into the refrigerator and maybe eat. My brother does that. He has Down syndrome. He likes to get up in the middle of the night and go to the refrigerator and kind of raid it when my mom was not paying attention sometimes. So he would then be in residential support services so that there's someone awake at all times. We also offer cognitive rehab services, day habilitation. Day habilitation can be in home or out of home. They have programs, so you just assess which is best for your individual. Behavior support services, audiology, adaptive aids, dental. Dental is capped at $2,000 per year. So the next year you start again with another 1,000, but the program offers 2,000 a year. There's physical therapy, respite in home or out of home, speech therapy, dietary, employment assistance. And employment assistance is you have an individual that wants to work. Those services can help prepare the individual for employment in the community. Supported employment is not on here, but we do offer that as well. In supported employment, the individual already has a job and working. We can have a job coach come in and assist the individual if they have a new, first of all, if they're new at the position, we can assist them with learning their job duties. The job coach would do that. If the person's been working for a while and there are new tasks assigned or they have new duties, the job coach can come in at that time and help the individual learn those new job duties. So that's an important element a lot of families take advantage of there. Social work is offered, which is not offered in the other waiver programs. That is something unique to HCS as a part of the program. Minor home modifications can also be provided, such as door widening, helping with ramps, things like that, to help the individual be more mobile in the home or access their home. We want people to be able to to use their environment. And I do want to go back to residential services a little bit. I talked a little bit about host home care services. 57%, based on the last numbers that I've read, 57% of people that are already enrolled in HCS choose the host home care model. 7% choose the own home family home. 14% choose supervised living, and 22% are in the residential support services. So that's just a little added information about residential.
Which leads you to then believe that people aren't really comfortable having someone else watch their loved one.
Well, I mean, yes,
according to the numbers.
Situation. So
yes. Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome. Who provides HCS services? So as we're talking about HCS and all the services that are provided, I wanted to give you a better understanding of how that is done. HHSC contracts with public and private entities to provide the HCS services. In Harris County, we have over 300 people, providers that provide the services in HCS as the private or public entity. Some of the LIDAs provide services throughout the state of Texas, provide HCS. Some LIDAs do not. In Harris County, we do not have a public LIDA, but some of the other counties do provide HCS. With the private providers, when a person is enrolled into HCS, our service coordinators explain the services, answer any questions that you have, and then one of the choices that you would have to make is to choose a provider. And there are, like I said, 300 providers in Harris County. You can ask different questions of those providers so that you can choose someone that you are comfortable with. All of the providers provide the same amount of services, the same services. The ones that I shared with you a little bit before, they're the same services that are going to be provided by any provider that you select. There are some providers that have more expertise. Let's just say if you have healthcare issues, so you may want to ask more questions about that. Some will have more nurses available. So if you're not sure what to ask, we also provide questions so that you can ask a provider certain questions that are relevant to you and make sure that you're choosing a provider that you're going to be comfortable with. Also, the state allows for you to choose, anytime you want to change a provider, your service coordinator will be responsible for completing what we call a transfer. You can transfer to a new provider at any time. Whatever reason that you choose, you can choose to change that provider. So that list will be provided to you by the service coordinator. Let's see. Individuals can also choose to hire and train their own service providers under the Consumer Directed Services option, which is called CDS. That is offered in HCS as a service that you can participate in. Next, we'll move to how does all this even get started? Judy talked about this some at the very beginning about a LITA. Everything starts with the HCS program through the LITA. The LITA is the point of entry for publicly funded intellectual and developmental program. The LITA is responsible for providing or contracting to provide an array of IDD services and supports. And the LITA is responsible for enrolling individuals into the following Medicaid programs. ICF, which is a group home, an ICF group home has 6 people usually living in the home. In the HCS residential model, in our group homes, supervised living, or residential support services, you can only have 3, no more than 4 people living in a group home. The LITA is also responsible for enrolling individuals in the Home and Community-Based Services, HCS, and the Texas Home Living Program. And I'm going to talk a little bit more, give a little more information about Texas Home Living as well. And that's coming up in the next few screens. As I said before, the Home and Community-Based Service is a Medicaid waiver program. We currently have a waiting list. As Judy said, that waiting list is between 13 and 15 years, which is why it's really important for you to get on that list as soon as possible. And they must have an intellectual disability or related condition. Okay, now this is some more information about the interest list. With the interest list statewide, we have 110,512 people waiting for HCS, 97,569 waiting for Texas Home Living, 76,578 for class, 24,069 for Star Plus, 8,708 for the MDC program, and 1,157 for the DBMD program. Again, this really stresses how important it is for you to get on that interest list as quickly as possible. The interest list is used to the reason some of the interest lists are so high is because people don't have to show that they're eligible or qualify for the services before they get on the list. So don't let not ever being qualified for Medicaid or, I've never been able to get any assistance. That's fine. Get on the interest list anyway. We will determine your eligibility once your name comes up and before your name even gets here. Once we get the name from the state, and let me kind of go back on that. The state maintains the interest list. The LITA does not maintain the interest list. What happens is the state will notify us if they want us to enroll individuals into HCS, they will send the names to us. Once we are aware of the names and know that they're going to be coming up, our eligibility unit starts before your name even gets, before we even really start rolling out the enrollment. They're going to start calling you to come in to complete what we call a DID, which is a determination of intellectual disability. You remember you have to have the IQ less than 69 or a related condition, 75 IQ or lower. They are going to do the testing. Our DIDs now have to be at least 5 years old. So some of you may have a DID. We will update those DIDs once your name comes up on the interest list so that we can submit your paperwork to the state. The program is a first come, first served process. And like I said, maintained by HHSC. They notify us when your name is going to be, they're getting ready to enroll you or want us to enroll you. You can be on one or up to all 6 of the interest list at one time. So if you call, and I'm going to give you some contact information in a little bit, if you call and get on the HCS interest list, you can also get on Texas Home Living, class, or some of the other programs that you may be interested in. And I will give you that number as well so that you can call as soon as possible to get on the interest list. And the data that I'm showing to you is as of November of 2021. The total unduplicated count is 73,339. That just means we have a number of people that are on multiple lists. That's why that number is a little bit lower. Over 50% of individuals on the list are receiving at least one other Medicaid or non-Medicaid service. The list for Harris County in particular, we have 15,125 individuals waiting for services. I spoke a little bit about while you're waiting for services, what we're doing. There are other things that we're also doing. We're gathering demographic data on any unmet needs to include housing and residential needs of the people that are waiting. We assist individuals on the interest list to receive information about alternative community resources during the routine interest list contact. We have workers that call to check on the interest list, the people that are waiting, to find out if you have any issues, if you have a crisis, there are things going on where we can assist you at that time. You still remain on the interest list, but we can offer alternative resources to you based on what your needs are. That is another reason to make sure if you move, you're still in Harris County, or if you're still in Texas, make sure that you're calling in and updating your contact information. Because if your name comes up to be enrolled into HCS or any of the waiver programs, they're going to try and call you by the number that you last gave that worker that called you. So if you don't update it, and you can call anytime to the main number of any letter and let them know, hey, I've moved, I've changed my phone number, then staff will go in and update the most current information that you have. We also provide written information about critical resources to include Medicaid eligibility, STAR Plus, STAR Kids, Community First Choice. We'll give information on that program that provides attendant care as well as habilitation services. We'll also give you information on other waivers. Texas Home Living is one of those. There are also diversion slots for people that are at risk, medical and behavioral issues that are severe. There is a criteria that you do have to meet in order to qualify for a diversion slot. On the diversion slot, that means that if that assessment shows that there is a critical need, we may be able to provide the HCS services a little sooner than if you were waiting on the interest list. We'll also provide other local resources, and we can also make the referrals, as I said earlier, to an ICF group home if placement is needed while you're waiting for services. Okay, this slide is just shows some of the comparisons of the different waivers. If you notice, it says to the far left, waives off. When I talked about the waiver program and they waive off some of the state requirements, that's what I meant. And also it's gonna, when I show you another screen I have, it's gonna show changes for Medicaid, like I said, if you hadn't been able to be qualified before. So they want to make sure that as much as possible, individuals are in the community, in family homes, as opposed to some of these other facilities, such as nursing facilities or ICF group homes. So we're trying to give different alternative residential options to people when possible, or like I said, to keep them in their own home. The year initiated shows you when each of these programs were started. And HCS, to the far right, HCS is the second box, to the right, 1985. So this program has been in existence for a long time. Texas Home Living since 2004. That's just some information that I just wanted to share with you so that you could see that.
And you all are going to be getting these slides because I know the print is really tiny. So please don't worry. We just want you to get the general idea. Yeah, and but you'll be getting these slides.
Okay. This particular slide shows if there are limits on the amount of services that you can receive on the, it is kind of tiny, let me look at my other screen. The Star Plus program is based on your acuity level, which means that there's a test that's going to be performed, and it's going to determine based on your particular needs what that cap might be. The Youth Empowerment Services. Let me kind of talk a little bit about that one, because that was added. I told you there were 6 waiver programs. As you can see, if you count these boxes, there are 7. The YES program is really provided under our mental health program, and that it serves people from, I think it's age 3 to 18 for our not minors, because 18 is not a minor, but it's for younger people with mental health issues. But as the LITA, our mental health program rolls that service out. STAR Kids, 50% of the institutional average, again, based on what the needs are. Class, there is a limit of $114,736.07. Same for the deafblind with multiple disabilities program. And then with HCS, the limits are based on your level of need. Your service coordinator are and then our other staff in our eligibility unit will be conducting assessments to determine what level of need your individual falls in. The level of need can be a 1, 5, or 8. For that level of need, the limit is $167,468. For a level of need 6, it's $168,615. And then for a level of need 9, which is the most intense level of need, is $305,877. And for the Texas Home Living Program is $17,000 annually for that particular program. And they do not offer a residential component for Texas Home Living, although they offer a lot of the same services that HCS has. So there is no residential component. The individual lives in their own home, family home. On this particular slide, it shows, I wanted to show you where it waives off the consideration of parental income for eligibility for a minor. So if you've not, again, been able to qualify for Medicaid because you have a minor child, the HCS program is the child's income that will be considered for the program. It will not be the parent's income. And if you note, all of the waiver programs says no except Texas Home Living. The parent's income would be considered for the Texas Home Living program. But everyone else, there's the consideration for a minor is based on the minor's income. Okay, this is a comparison of the services that are offered for each of the waiver programs. So that's a slide, and like Judy was saying, she can provide you a copy of this so you can see it a little bit better. I've shown you the slides for HCS, but this is a comparison. You're going to be offered this if you're in a waiver program and your name comes up for another waiver. The service coordinator is going to give you a copy of this so that you can make an informed decision about the program that's best for you or your loved one. So that's a slide of that. So how can I access services? If you're interested in receiving information or receiving HCS services, we have a hotline that you can call. That number is 713-970-7799. Just leave your information on that hotline and our staff will get the information that you've left and put you on the interest list. That is for HCS and Texas Home Living. You can access the interest list for both those programs with the one number. And then also, if you would like more information on services just from the Harris Center, you can call our main number at 713-970-7000 extension 2. And you can get more information about our program, about any other waiver programs that's offered. This is a little bit more about Texas Home Living. As I stated before, the LITA is responsible for enrolling people into the Texas Home Living Waiver Program, as well as HCS. There's a waiting list for the Texas Home Living Program. It is a Medicaid waiver program, and you have to have an intellectual disability or related condition to qualify. And I brought up a little bit the services that are provided, little larger box so you can see those a little better. Nursing, occupational therapy, day hab, behavioral support, audiology, adaptive aids, dental services, physical therapy, respite, speech therapy, dietary services, and employment assistance. So that's not an exhaustive list, but these are the most popular services that are offered. And if you want more information on the program, you can give us a call, and we can help you there. Again, how can I get help? If you're not in the waiver, if you're on the interest list, you want to call us and get more information from the Harris Center. Again, you have to qualify for the services with the diagnosis. You have to have intellectual disability or pervasive developmental disorders such as autism, according to the DSM-5, which is the current statistical manual, a related condition, or living in a nursing home with a diagnosis of IDD or a related condition. Our eligibility unit, which is will be the staff persons that will give you more information about our services, how to access the interest list. If you don't call the hotline, and let's just say you do work with our eligibility unit, they will give you information on how to get on the interest list, and will also, they can put your name on the interest list. So they'll complete the intake. And again, that's through our business office, our consumer benefits office. They will work with you on the Medicaid application to help you get qualified for services. And again, this is just what I just went over, just how to get connected. And this is the main number, again, to our agency, 713-970-7000, option 2. The difference on this slide is number 4, where you're assigned a service coordinator. I did talk about some of that, the service coordinator and the role of the service coordinator a little bit before. And this is just a little bit more on the service coordinator. Your service coordinator will be your primary contact for the coordination of the services, either through general revenue services that we're going to talk about, or through the waiver program. You will have a service coordinator that's going to be the one contact, we call it single accountable individual, that you can contact and ask questions of and get assistance for services. They help you in accessing medical, social, educational, and other appropriate services and supports that will help in the achievement of a quality of life and community participation acceptable to you or your loved one. The service coordinator is an advocate for you and or your loved one. So they should be helping you to get the services that you need. What should I expect from my service coordinator? Usually that service coordinator is going to meet you in your home. And of course, just like everything else, if you have concerns about a service coordinator coming into your home, we can make a virtual visit for the general revenue services. If you're being enrolled into the HCS program and you have concerns, please let your service coordinator know, and then we can see what we can do to assist with maybe a virtual meeting as opposed to in your home. So some parts of that can be probably kind of be a shared thing, because part of that you do have to have diagnostic testing, so you may have to have some face-to-face contact if you're being enrolled. Your service coordinator will return your call no later than 48 business hours. The service coordinator will provide you with a service folder that will include the service plan for your loved one. It's usually a bright orange folder, so you can always be able to find it. And we also ask that you put any important information in that folder so that when the service coordinator calls you or they come to make their monthly visit, that you can share that with them. Sometimes families receive letters, they'll receive a letter from Medicaid or the Social Security office, they're not sure what they're asking, the service coordinator can help on that monthly visit, help you understand what that letter is. Your service coordinator will assist with updating the plan as changes or updates occur. Your service coordinator will assist you in accessing desired services and then monitor the progress of these services to ensure that they are meeting the needs of the person being served. Where can I find my service coordinator's contact information? Once you're assigned that service coordinator, they're going to make sure that on the first page of your PDP is always going to be your service coordinator's name. The supervisor's name is going to be there, so that if you can't reach your service coordinator, you can call the team leader, the next supervisor that's going to be that supervises that service coordinator directly. And if you can't reach either one of them, you can always call our main number and ask them to get a supervisor if you need to reach us. Now, General Revenue Services is provided by our agency. It's not a waiver program. It's just a service that's offered to people that live in the community. Anybody that's not receiving already a waiver program and you need help, the General Revenue Services unit will help you assign a service coordinator and help you find the resources and services that you need. Again, you have to meet the eligibility requirements that we've already discussed. The eligibility requirement is the same. Here are the services that are offered through General Revenue. We do have respite in and out of home. They have linkage to various community resources based on the need that you may have, behavioral support, employment assistance, supported employment, community first choice, and specialized therapies. Now, some of these they have a waiting list themselves. A lot of times our behavioral support unit, we have respite, but we also have crisis respite. Sometimes there's a waiting list for that service, but please still call in. Let us try and help you. If we cannot provide that service, we will try and find a community resource that can help you. Community First Choice, I talked a little bit about. It's not a waiver program. It is another program offered by the LITA. It's a Medicaid entitlement program. The individual must need assistance with activities of daily living, maybe bathing, grooming, things like that. They have to have a need for it. And it's not exclusive for individuals with an intellectual disability. And I think one of our other directors, Kenyanika Johnson, has provided some information to the group on Community First Choice. And so if more information is needed from that, we can always have her come back as you need us to. Some of the services provided: personal assistance services, habilitation services, emergency response services, and support management. And at the end here, I did put some more, the contact information, how to contact the Harris Center, how you can get on the HCS interest list, as well as the Texas Home Living interest list, how to get on the CLASS program interest list. The 877-438-5658 is the number for the CLASS program, and as well as the other waiver programs. The DBMD program is the same number. So once you call, just leave your information and someone will get back with you and help you make sure you get on the right interest list for that particular waiver. And as Judy said earlier, some of you may not be in Harris County, you may not be located in Houston. For Harris County, the LITA is the Harris Center. If you're from another county, there's a web address here that you can, a link here that you can go to and find out where your LITA, who is your LITA, and how to contact them. So now I'll go into the question phase if anybody has any questions.
Janice, thank you so much. There are several questions, and I see your next slide. You must love Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh also.
Yes.
Believe me. So let me start at the top. If you want to stop sharing your screen, And I'll go ahead and ask the questions in the order that they were written. Thank you all so much. You really had great questions. You gave percentages in the very beginning about how many people were on class and how many people were, no, how many people, if they were on the HCS waiver list, were they in the home? Were they in a group home? Do you remember what number 2 was? And I don't know if you have to go back to your slide.
No, the first one, host home care, was 57%.
Okay.
The second one was own home family home, which was 7%.
7%.
And then, yes.
Got it. Okay. And to the parent who asked that, if that slide will be sent to you. Another question, besides the HCS waiver, which other Medicaid waiver also provides day habilitation services?
Texas Home Living provides day habilitation. And
class?
Class, I think, does also provide the day habilitation. And it's on those slides. So if you look at the comparison, it is on the slides.
Okay. Clarissa, we'll have you look at those slides and we will send them to you. If you still have questions, let me know and we will find out the answer for you. Another question, are participants automatically rolled over from MDCP? For those of you who don't know what that is, it's medically dependent children to Star Plus, or do they have to start at the bottom of the list again at age 21? Also, is it age 21 when they are enrolled in Star Plus? And I believe the answer to that is yes, but I'll let you answer that if you know.
Actually, we don't. That's usually done through the MCOs, the Star Plus. But the thing is, and what I would encourage everybody to do is still get on the interest list, because if you age out of one, you want to have already been on the other interest list, so it's not a long time before your name comes up again. But yes, so we don't handle those interest lists. The only time we would be involved is if you're in MDCP, but your name comes up for HCS or Texas Home Living. At that time, you'd have to make a choice between HCS or the Texas Home Living program, because that's the ones the LITA is responsible for rolling in.
Diane, I'm happy to put you in touch with someone who I believe can answer your question on that. If you email me, I will be happy to introduce her, because she will know the answer to that. At what age can you enroll in Star Plus? I believe it's 21 years old, Diane, but again, I'm happy to introduce you to that person to confirm. Just please remind me. Good question from J. Kim. I understand that HCS is a state program. However, when I call the interest list, my place number is given as in state, not county. Is that right? So I think what they're asking is when slots are given, is it given by county?
Okay, yes. Well, when you get on the interest list, your name is just first come, first serve. But when when you come to Harris, let's just say if they want us to enroll individuals, they're going to take from the list of, they know how many they're going to enroll. They will take you then your name. If your name falls within Harris County, they're going to give all of those names to Harris County or whichever county that you're in. And then it's in order based on that, the state list. Then they break it down by county and then send it to the county. And then we enroll you from the list that they gave us from the specific county.
So in other words, if 500 slots are given, this family is asking, won't it be off of the state number, and then they will contact the county?
I'm sorry, Judy, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So what I think, just to be clear, if say HHSC says, okay, there are 500 slots we want to release for the HCS waiver list. They'll look at the first 500 names on that state list and then contact the appropriate county?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I hope that answered the question. Yeah, to To the mom who asked, is there such a Medicaid program called STAR, just STAR with HCS? And I think you're talking about the STAR program. That has nothing to do with HCS. And if the person who asked this, if you'd like me to put you in touch with someone who can answer that question for you, I'd be happy to. I assume your STAR is not your area, correct, Janice?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. If I understood correctly, in the past, there used to be 2 contact numbers for HCS, one for IDD and one for people with severe chronic illness who could not live alone but had normal cognition, such as a neuromuscular disability. Has this HCS gone away? I think it might. I think it has gone, but just wanted to be clear. So HCS, to my knowledge, Janice, has always been HCS. I wonder if you're thinking to this parent of MDCP, medically dependent?
Maybe that could be, but our hotline now for everyone is that 7799 number.
Yeah, and I would ask them, and I'm happy to introduce you to someone who handles the MDCP waiver to see if that would fall under for that person. I know that there are always some changes, and it is really, really difficult to keep track of everything. Very hard to keep up. We answered about Brazoria County. They would contact the Gulf Coast Center. That is for Galveston and Brazoria counties. I'm glad you asked. If you're in Fort Bend County, you would reach out to Texana. Another great question, Texas Home Living, are dental services restricted to certain providers?
Not all providers is not restricted, but some of them, it depends on if some of them have some reservations about working with our population. And so they may not want to provide services, but there are no restrictions through the program.
Okay, and to everyone on this call, one of the areas that's really important to me is dental health for people with disabilities. And there are dentists who do have reservations about working with people with disabilities. There are some dentists that I know that do not, and I'm happy to connect them with you if you reach out to me. I would be happy to. I also collaborate with the UT Dental School so that they are training dentists now to how to work with people with disabilities. We don't want to just keep sedating everyone, because being sedated every time you get a teeth cleaning is not healthy either. So they are really working hard at the UT Dental School to train dentists on how to work with people with disabilities. So if you are looking for a dentist, please ask, and I'm happy to put you in touch with some people. Yeah, if you live in Fort Bend County, please reach out to Texana. Yes, I can send you their information. Give me just a minute and I will do that. Does an evaluation from a third party count towards HHSC's determination of services in lieu of HHSC doing a separate evaluation? What I mentioned, Janice, was that sometimes if it's a recent evaluation, the Harris Center might just reconfirm it.
Yes, that's what we would do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Civi's mom, what they'll probably do is just reconfirm it. It just depends. If it was done, 3 years ago or more, they will want to evaluate your child. Correct, Janice?
Usually now they're looking at if it's more than 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
But if it's less than 5, they can what we call an endorsement. We can endorse that.
Yeah, that's what it was. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, reconfirm endorsement. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on when that was done. We never want to over-test people, but we do need accurate and current information. So it's a balance.
Yes.
David Deanda, great question. Does CFC pay for Dayhab? I do not believe they do. Do you know, Janice, or should I reach out to Kenyanica?
I know dehabilitation is a part of CFC, but if is he referring to like just going out to a Dayhab program or
right.
receiving the pass-have Yes, I reach out to Kenyanica on that just to make sure we're providing the correct information.
Okay,
It is a part of the program, I know, but I'm not sure if they can go out or if that's just in the home.
okay, got it. Felicia, since you are in Kaufman County, what you can do is you can contact class. Their phone number is 877-438-5658. And you can ask them, my daughter has been on the wait list for 13 years. God, I hope her name is coming up soon, Felicia. It should be coming up in the next couple of years. And they can tell you about class for HCS. They can help you find who your local LIDA is for Kaufman County. It will also be in the slides that we send and the link that Janice gave. You can also Google who is my local LIDA, LIDDA, and it will bring up a link. And then you just have to scroll through like 10 different pages to find out who the LIDA is for Kaufman County. I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head. And as a last resort, you can always reach out to me and I can help you. Private question from a parent. Where do we submit bills to HCS bills from our service providers, etc.? Do you have a link or fax number for those of us who have an HCS waiver? I'm not quite sure I understand that question. Do you, Janice?
Well, no, because you have a provider. So any bills really should be paid by your provider. If there's something that you paid out of pocket for, then you need to contact your HCS provider so that they can reimburse you if there's something that you paid for out of pocket.
Do you mean, you don't mean your managed care organization? Do you mean your service coordinator or your?
No. If she's in HCS, she has a private provider that
that's right.
contracts with the state.
You mean like a Vital Living or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Then she needs to go to that provider, Vital Living, whoever she selected as her provider, and let them know if it's a service that's authorized on her plan, then she can take those bills to them and have them work with her as far as reimbursing her for that bill.
Got it. That's right. I'm getting my programs mixed up.
There are a lot of programs.
Oh my gosh, it's dizzying. So to the person who asked me that question, you would need to contact whoever is your HCS provider. There's 300 of them on a list, whoever that is. I would also reach out to your service coordinator if you're not sure who to submit to, because your service coordinator should be able to help you determine who your HCS provider is.
Correct.
Great question from Aisha. To clarify, besides the Texas Home Living waiver, all other waivers determine eligibility on child's income, meaning the parent's income is irrelevant. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. See, and a lot of times too, by the time at this point your loved one's name comes up, they're over 18 and only their income is taken into account. So if Aunt Mary or Uncle Bob or Grandma and Grandpa want to leave this huge sum of money to your loved one, please don't have them do that. Because these programs, you want to always maintain under $2,000 in your bank account. Maybe you need a special needs trust, those kinds of things, but you do not want assets in your loved one's name. Please make sure of that. Private question. My son is receiving Medicaid during the emergency coverage due to COVID. Who do I call to find out what waiver he is on?
A waiver list, or she wants to know which waiver list or which one he should be on or get on one.
To the person who asked me this, please email me because I need to find out what county you're in and find out more about how you got Medicaid. I'm not sure I know the answer to that question. So if you could email me, I'm the one who sent out all the emails for the reminders of the meeting, judy@familytofamilynetwork.org. Please reach out to me so I can find out. You can also call that 877 number that we just gave to see if your son is on the class list and what his number is. And you can also call your local authority. If you're in Harris County, Janice gave the number and it will also be in the slides. A lot of you said thank you to me. You are very welcome. We are so happy. Judy, what is your email information? I am going to type it right here in the chat box. Okay, there you go. Judy at family2familynetwork.org. Okay, yes, I will send you the dental information. You're welcome. Happy to answer questions. Many thanks. You're welcome. Okay, another great question. Where a young adult could ask for an evaluation for diagnosis. He was evaluated at school years ago. So to the person who asked this, what you can do is your local authority can evaluate for free. There is no charge for an evaluation. So if you're in Harris County, you would call them and say, I would like an appointment. Now, just to let you know, they do the best they can at seeing your loved one as quickly as possible. It's possible it could take 8 to 12 weeks or more to get an appointment. If you're in Fort Bend County, you would contact Texana. If you're in Conroe, Montgomery County, you would contact Tri-County. So what you can do is you can contact your local authority and ask for a current evaluation and for your loved one to be evaluated so that you have a current diagnosis. Because sometimes what maybe was ADHD is now autism. Maybe what was now autism, maybe now has co-occurring disabilities. Maybe now there's some anxiety, maybe there's some depression, and maybe there's now co-occurring disabilities. So I'm glad you asked, but you can get an evaluation for free at your local authority. What they will then do is have you meet with a financial person, and they will let you know if there is a fee for services. Everything is income-based. So if you have, if your loved one is an adult, and again, chances are they don't have much in the way of assets, there would not be any charge. I can tell you that my son does not have assets and he gets services from the Harris Center and there is no charge. All of it is income-based. Did I explain that okay, Janice?
Yes.
Okay. General Revenue Services, how to contact. Great question, Felicia, but that's something, correct me if I'm wrong, Janice, when your service coordinator, when you are assigned one, they let you know about those general services, revenue services and what can be offered. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. But if she is not involved at all and don't have a service coordinator yet, she can just contact our main number and let them know that she's interested in getting a service coordinator or she's interested in obtaining services, and then we can have someone assigned.
Right. And what they'll do is they'll have to evaluate first.
Yes, and make sure
determine eligibility, see if there's any copay. I encourage you all to reach out to your local authority. You need to be on their radar screen. What I don't want is for people to wait until they're in crisis and then they're contacting me and I'm having to pull a lot of strings to get them the help they need right away. That's not what we want. It's really important to have a plan. So great question, Felicia. If you do not have a service coordinator, please contact your local authority so your child or loved one can get evaluated. Someone sent me a private message. No, I don't have a private provider, but I'm not sure what the question was. Oh, HCS providers, they'll cover bills. Okay, you got that. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear you have COVID. I hope you feel better. Okay, someone sent a message. We were denied employment assistance because no evidence of TWC, Texas Workforce Commission, of denial was submitted, but TWC isn't doing anything. What do you suggest? So if you are not getting the help that you need from Texas Workforce Commission, please contact me because I know someone there that's kind of higher up And we can get you a TWC representative so that your loved one does get employment assistance. Depending on which office you belong to, that you're zoned to, some have very, very high turnover, and it's very, very challenging. So to the person who wrote the TWC question, please let me know. And we need to get you hooked up with someone who can get you support. Just so the group knows, my son is on, does have a Texas Workforce Commission representative. And he also gets supported employment in the workplace once we can get him a job.
Judy, this is Sharon Buckle, and that
Yes.
was Michelle's question, but the point is that her son is being denied under the HCS program, supported assistance services. He doesn't currently have a job, but the paperwork that she received states that he's being denied employment assistance services because there was no evidence of a TWC denial submitted with his enrollment application. So can Ms. Baines maybe give us some suggestions on what to do about that?
Well, and Janice, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't it have to come from TWC?
Actually, they can go ahead and get that service. So if they can give you their name and number, I'll be happy to call. Let me call that provider and see what's going on, because one of the initiatives that the state is wanting us to do is we want people to be employed. And if he needs employment assistance, we can't authorize that service, even though they have not gone through that through TWC yet, or they've tried and not been successful. So we may need to speak directly to that provider and authorize them to go ahead and provide that service.
Sharon, if you could email me that information, I will go ahead and forward it to Janice so we can get that resolved. And please also let me know in an email who that was so I can follow up, because that should not have happened.
Right.
I agree, and thank you ladies very much.
You are so welcome. That's what we do. We're here to help.
Right.
I put my email in there. I'm glad you like the information. You are so welcome. We do have an HCS provider. She diverts us to HCS, who redirects us to Medicaid, who sends us back to HCS. Oh, have I heard this before? You get a reject letter that services were not paid by our insurance. We do not have a place to submit bills. 5 to 6 people are monitoring our HCS waiver via monthly meetings. Help. So to the person who sent that to me, if you could please email me, just because I have more messages to read. If you could please email me with that, I'm going to ask Janice about that to see why you're being caught up in this web of we can't help you. Somebody's dropping the ball. So to the person who emailed me that, please email me so that I can put you in touch with the right people. Again, we answered the question about contacting General Revenue Services. We answered that. Which is local authority? Again, what you would need to do is you can Google and you can say who is my LIDDA, LIDDA in Texas, and it will bring up a website, and you have to find your county and it will tell you who your LIDDA is. Lots of thank yous, and my goodness, I think that was it. If I did not catch all of the questions, please unmute yourself or type it in the chat box if you do not want to speak. I know we went over on time, but we got started a little late and there was so much amazing information. I want to thank Janice so much. A lot of information. Janice, you get the gold star of the day.
But thank you very much.
Yeah, we truly appreciate it. And many thanks to all of you. Again, I should be sending out the recording shortly. And for those of you who I asked to please email me so that we can follow up, please do that so that we can make sure your questions are answered. I am going to, oh, thank you very much. Diane, we're very, very happy that you joined us.